Hey Mackie, it's Uncle Dave here. What I did for today, I just wanted to follow up on what we worked on yesterday, just understanding pre-flop hand analysis, good hands, weak hands, excellent hands, S tier, A tier, all that fun stuff. So what I thought I would do is I threw up 4 tables of the smaller buy-in games, and I'm really just going to focus on pre-flop hands. So I recorded it and I played it. Excuse me. And I'll just sort of let it play. I'll pause it if I need to continue to explain. But for the most part, table 1 will be the top left, table 2 top right, 3 bottom left, 4 bottom right. So if I say on table 3, it's bottom left. So I'm really wanting to just focus on choosing which hands to play before the flop and how to play them. So essentially raising them versus calling them. There's a few interesting spots within there, but I'll go ahead and play. So right off the bat in table 4 we have king 6 offsuit. No one's raised, so we're going to be able to see the flop for free. So nothing really to say about that. Sorry, we posted. You don't know what posted is. I'll have to explain that to you another time. Okay, table 3. So we have ace 10 of diamonds. Okay, so I'm going to pause this real quick. So table 3 of ace 10 of diamonds, and no one's entered the pot yet. So we will be in this pot. We're going to raise with it. And then table 4, someone raised 5 times the blind, so we're just going to fold king 6. So you can see on table 3, we raised and we just won the pot. So that was cool. Table 4, we have 9-4 offsuit. Table 3, we have 9-6 offsuit. Both are folds. Table 1, we have 10-7 offsuit. It's a fold. Table 2, we have 10-8 offsuit. That's a fold. Table 4, we have king 9 suited. It's a bit of an interesting situation. So with a hand like king 9, excuse me, with a hand like king 9 suited, it's decently okay to play for cheap against multiple opponents. So if this player here, you can see my mouse, yeah, if this player here had have just called instead of raised, we would have completed from the small blind and tried to see the flop for cheap. But because this player raised, we're going to fold. And then table 1, you see we had ace 8 offsuit, but we're in middle position. It's not a great hand. It's a danger hand, I believe. So we just folded. Table 2, we have king 5 offsuit. It's a fold. So you can see we probably folded 20 hands already in a row. 6-9 offsuit. Table 4 is a fold. So even with 4 tables going at once, it takes a while to wait patiently for a premium hand. Table 2, the 5-2 offsuit is a fold. Table 1, the 8-6 offsuit is a fold. Table 3, 10-2 offsuit is a fold. So again, we're just waiting for the quality cards. The biggest mistake beginning players make is they play too many hands, and too many weak hands especially. Okay, table 4, we have a playable hand of 2 5s. So we're going to see what happens with it. And then table 2, we have another playable hand with 2 aces. So we'll look at what we do in both these spots. I'm going to pause it real quick. So table 2, early position player raised. So we're going to 3-bet. We raised their raise. He raised a 30. We're going to make it 90, 3 times their raise. And then table 4, we had one player limp. And so we're going to raise 4 times. Now why did I do 4 times? Because I do one more big blind for every limper there is. So if he wasn't in the hand, I would raise to 30. Because he's in the hand, we're raising to 40. And then table 1, we're just in the big blind, no one's raised, so we're going to be able to see the flop for free with 7-2. So table 1, we got to see the flop for free. We flop bottom pair, but again, there's no money in the pot, and we have bottom pair. We just have a terrible hand, so we're just going to fold. Table 2, you can see I 3-bet, and we've had one player call. And then table 4, we've raised, and we've had one person call so far. So again, some of the stuff after the flop, we won't talk about too much. So like table 4, for example, I did continuation bet into one player. He's a pretty weak player, but he has so few chips, it's hard to get players with a small amount of chips to fold. And then table 2, we actually got 4-bet, which is pretty unusual. When someone 4-bets at this stake, they're usually ready to get all their chips in. So when he 4-bets, I'm going to 5-bet small. Any hand I would play, obviously, it would be like aces, kings, and ace king. I think I could have probably gone all in here and it would have looked a little bit weaker. I did a very small 5-bet, which tends to be very strong. But regardless, when you have a hand like aces, you're very happy to get all the money in before the flop. Then table 4, I'm just basically giving up. In table 2, you see our 5-bet won the pot. So we're folding table 4. We have 9-8 offsuit. Jack 6 suited in table 2. So this is an interesting hand. Two interesting hands. So table 3, everyone folded and we're in the small blind. So we're only against one opponent. So when we're in this situation, which doesn't happen that often, we're going to be raising quite often just to try and steal the one big blind plus any extra money in the pot. And then table 1 up here, we had a player raise in middle position, and we 3-bet with our 2 5s. We're on the buttons, we're in the best position, and we want to have the aggressive play most of the time. So you can see table 1, everyone folded, so that 3-bet just ended up winning. Now on table 3, you can see we basically just checked, and the opponent bet tiny on the flop, so we called once, and now we're just basically playing it passively. But oftentimes we did flop a gut shot and a backdoor diamond draw, so because they bet small on the flop, we called once on table 3. Table 2, queen 3 offsuit is a fold. So again, I won't, it's too many tables to really talk about the action after the flop too much. I might throw in a little bit, but really I want to focus on what's happening before the flop, what's happening, our decision with our first 2 cards. Table 1, we folded 5-8 offsuit. Table 4, we have 9-3 offsuit. We will be folding this if anyone raises. We are in the big blind. Table 2, we have 6-7 suited, which could be a playable hand, but we are in early position. You can see we were under the gun there, so our hand range has to be quite tight. So when you're thinking about what hands to play, it's not just what is the hand, but it's what is the hand, it's what is the position, and what have my opponents done before it's my turn. All of those things you have to take into consideration. So table 3, we have queen 6, we're going to fold. And this hand on table one, I do want to talk about it for a minute. So even though it's not a fantastic hand, it is a suited ace. So that means if we do get a flush, it will be the nut flush or the best possible flush. And a couple of things that are different about this hand. So first of all, a suited ace does very well against a lot of players because if you get a flush, you on some occasions will be against someone that has a smaller flush and you can win a ton of money. And it is a drawing hand, and as long as you have discipline to sometimes if you flop an ace and you get a lot of um, action from your opponent, meaning they're betting and raising against you, then you might have to fold even a hand like top pair. As long as you have that discipline, then this is a pretty good spot with 1, 2, 3, 4 opponents already in the pot. The other thing about this hand is we're doing what's called closing the action. So once we call, no one else can keep going in the hand until the flop comes out. So let's say we're in the small blind in this situation. We would not be closing the action because there's still the big blind that has to act before the flop. So if we were in the small blind with ace 8 suited, I might fold because once in a while the big blind will raise again, and when they do that, you're kind of stuck. So let's imagine we have ace 8 suited in the small blind, so we call the 50 cents, and then suddenly someone in the big blind raises to $4, right? What's going to happen is maybe one of these player calls, but likely most people will fold, and then we've almost wasted the 50 cents to try and see the flop, and now we're not going to be able to. So because I'm the last player to act before the flop in this situation, then it makes it even more profitable or a better situation for us to call. So again, I won't comment too much about after the flop. We're really focused on just the starting hands. Okay, Jack 9 offsuit on table 4. There was a call and then a raise, so we're going to fold. Jack 9 offsuit is a pretty weak hand. And as we talked about before, generally speaking, I want you to start off playing quite tight, not very many hands. And then as you get more and more and more comfortable with poker and how it works, you can sort of open up a little bit the hands you play as we go. But for starters, I'm trying to really focus on playing premium hands only. Okay, table 3, we're just folding 10-8 offsuit. Table 2, you saw us fold 8-4 offsuit. In table 1, we're folding 10-jack offsuit. Okay, table 1, we're folding 7-4 offsuit. Table 2, jack 4 offsuit. Table 4, we have a premium hand with an ace-queen suited. So we will definitely be raising this hand. So I raised to 50 cents. Table 1, we just folded the 6-8 suited. And table 4, we got one caller, so that's cool. Table 3, queen 3 offsuit is garbage. Table 2, we're folding 6-4 offsuit. Table 4, ace-6 offsuit. Ace-6 offsuit could be played on the button or the cutoff. If everyone's folded to you, it's an okay hand to try and steal the blinds. But in middle position, early position, it's a pretty trashy hand. 10-jack offsuit in middle position as a fold. Same idea. You could play it on the button if everyone's folded. Table 3, I folded 6-8 offsuit. Table 2, we would raise ace-5 suited if everyone folds, because we're on the cutoff. And yes, everyone's folded, so we're going to raise. Table 2, 5-3 offsuit is a fold. 5-7 offsuit, table 4 is a fold. We have a premium hand on table 3, raising the ace-jack offsuit. Table 3 now, we have a playable hand. Now this is interesting. What we're doing is we're checking this player's stats. So we have a very strong hand, but we're in a bad position. And we're facing a player who was in early position who raised. So generally their hand strength will be higher. So I checked his stats to see how aggressive and loose he was, and he was a very loose and aggressive player. So I figured my ace-jack offsuit would probably be better or ahead of the cards that he's going to be raising here. So I went ahead and 3-bet. Table 1, queen-7 offsuit. Table 4, 9-5 offsuit is a fold. Okay, this is an interesting hand. Table 3. So I looked at the player who raised statistics, and they're very tight. So Jack Queen offsuit, it's a decent hand, but because there's a player in early position who raised, and our potential raising hand becomes a fold because there's a raise before us. Table 4, got the crappy old 4 deuce. Never gonna call a raise with this hand. Table 3, we've got the queen 6 offsuit. Never playing this hand. So you can imagine if instead of 4 tabling, you're only playing at 1 table, it's going to require a lot of patience to wait for the premium good hands to play. You might be going 10 or 15 minutes between hands. Okay, table 1, we have a decent hand with the king and the queen. Now we are facing a fairly loose player in the who raised. So we decided not to 3-bet out of position. And we just saw a cheap flop. We decided that's not for us. Table 4, you see I folded king 3 suited. There was a raise to 30 and a 3-bet to $1.71, so that's a pretty easy fold. Table 1, just a weak ace, ace rag basically. We're just going to fold it from the small blind. Table 2, folding 6-7 offsuit. Table 4, folding a 10-5 suited. Table 3, fold in an 8-9 offsuit. Table 4, we have a playable hand with King Queen offsuit. I think if everyone folds, we will likely raise with it. Oh, definitely raise with it. We're on the cutoff. We're in a good position. We did get 3-bet with our King Queen, and we're going to look at the stats of our opponent, and he looks quite loose. We're going to call the 3-bet, and we'll see what he does on the flop. Table 2, we just saw a free flop because we were in the big blind, but no one raised. We flop bottom pair, very coordinated board. Okay, table 1, we actually raised with ace-8 offsuit because we were in the cutoff in late position and everyone folded. We're going to fold queen-9 offsuit, table 1. We're going to fold king-5 offsuit, table 4. Table 3, folding 5-9 suited. And even when I'm playing at 4 tables at once, there's sometimes long periods of time when you don't get any cards. Table 2, 4-8 offsuit. Trashy, trashy hand. Basically, any 2 cards that are like under a 10, not suited, not connected, are just always going to be a fold. Any cards that are like one face card with one little card that's not suited will always be a fold no matter what. Table 3, 10-6 offsuit is a fold. We have a premium hand in table 1. So we're going to be raising with it. Nice big re-raise. Table 2, queen 7 offsuit is a fold. Table 4, king 9 offsuit is a fold. Table 1, 10-7 offsuit is a fold. Table 3, we have king 10 offsuit, which if everyone folds, we would definitely raise with this one. So everyone folded, and we're going to raise. Table 2, we have a suited ace in middle position. This is pretty close. We can certainly raise with it. And we will. Table 1, 10-7 offsuit. Now on table 2, we received a 3-bet, a fairly large 3-bet. And we look at the opponent, and he's really tight, so we're just going to fold. Table 3, we have king 2 offsuit, it's a fold. Queen 7 suited is a fold, and 7 deuce is a fold. So, 80% of the time, at least, we're just folding our hands. This might be a little bit boring, but I just think that this really gets the point across of how much you have to wait and have patience to get your cards. Okay, table 1, we have king queen offsuit. We have a fairly tight player, and this is a very tight player. You can see they only raise 11% of their hands. So even though king queen is a pretty strong hand, against an opponent who raises so rarely, king queen is not actually ahead of his hand. Table 3, we raised the ace jack. Oh, we'll talk about table 4 first. Again, because the player in early position. All right, let me pause here for a second because a little bit happened here. So the reason we folded this jack queen, even though we were in good position, is because the person who raised before the flop was incredibly tight. So against a very, very tight, small amount of hands, jack queen is actually not going to be a favorite at all against his range of hands. And then table 3, we had one player limp in, and then we raised, I think 4 or 5 times the size of the blind. That's what happened there in table 2. We just folded 7-5 offsuit. Table 1, 10-4 offsuit, fold. King 8 offsuit, table 3 is a fold. King 9 offsuit, table 4 is a fold. Table 1, queen 4 offsuit is a fold. Table 2, it's been someone raising, so queen 8 offsuit is going to be a fold, even though we're in the big blind. Eight 9 offsuit, table 3 is a fold. Queen 9 offsuit, table 4 is a fold. And every time when I'm looking at my cards, the first thing I look at is what position am I in. So am I in early position? Am I in late position? Am I in the blinds? Because that changes what cards you're going to play quite a bit. Table 1 against a raise. Obviously we're in the big blind, so we're going to fold. Okay, table 3, we have a fairly strong hand, probably C or B tier, with the ace 10 offsuit. And again, we're going to look at this player and realize he's quite loose and quite aggressive, so we think our ace 10 is going to be ahead of the hands he's going to raise with. So we're going to put in the 3-bet. Table 2 is a fold with the queen 6 offsuit. Table 2, 7-5 offsuit is a fold. That's a bad bet on the river on table 3, by the way. He's only calling when, most of the time when he's beating us. It's better to check there and then call a bet. Anyway, so king queen is interesting. It's a decent hand. It was an early position raise. We're out of position. We looked at the stats. They're fairly loose. So because they're fairly loose, we're gonna 3-bet. If they were really tight, we would have folded. So table 2, the king 10 suited. We're the first one in. Definitely gonna raise it. And we got another big 3-bet from that player. So being that the 3-bet is large and the player is pretty tight. And table 1 here. I bet the flop they called and I bet the turn and they raised. At amateur levels, raising on the turn is almost never a bluff. Like that player has 2 sevens at least, if not 7-8, because there's 3, 4, 5, 6 on board 100% of the time. So even if I had a hand like kings, I would have folded to that raise on the turn because it's just never ever, almost never a bluff in those situations. But we're not focused on that. We're focused on folding 6 deuce on table 2 and folding 9-4 on table 1. King 5, I thought about it for a second, even though it's a fold, because we're playing tight. Table 4, and we're on the button, so if everyone folded to us, we definitely could raise with the 4-3 because someone raised before it got to us. Then we're going to go ahead and fold. Table 1, if everyone folds, we can raise with the a6. It's kind of weak, but we are on the cutoff, and we're trying to steal the blinds. But ace-8 offsuit in table 2, we're not in a good position. We're in early position, so we're going to fold. And then table 4, if everyone folded to us, we would have raised, but someone beat us to it, and they raised first, so we're going to fold. Table 3, 8 deuce is a fold. Table 2, 2-3 is a fold, and table 4, we raised ace-5 suited because we were in late position and everyone folded. Table 1, jack-6 suited is a fold. Table 3, 5-4 offsuit is a fold. Table 2, king 8 offsuit will be a fold depending on who raises. Table 2, we just saw a free flop because we were in the big blind and no one raised. Table 4, 10-4 is a fold. Table 1, 6-10 is a fold. Table 3, jack 8 offsuit. We're in the big blind. It'll be a fold if anyone raises. Table 2, we have an interesting hand. We have a queen 10 suited, which is a medium strength hand. It doesn't mind playing against many players, so if we were to get, like we got in this situation, 3 players calling, then It's a pretty good time to see a flop. It's not quite a good enough hand to try and 3-bet with. Because if you were to 3-bet with it, most of the hands that would call you would have you beat pretty badly. So we flop just a gut shot with the backdoor flush draw. So we're just trying to hit a really big flop there or getting out of there. Now we have 10 jack offsuit on the button, so if everyone folds to us, we'll definitely raise. On table 2 that was. Table 4 we have jack 7 offsuit. That's a easy fold. Table 3 we have an interesting pair of sixes. So this is a hand again similar to the queen 10 suited. We don't mind having lots of opponents because we can try and either hit 3 of a kind or just fold. So we called. It's a really good spot because there's 5 other players and we missed our 3 of a kind, so we'll just be folding. But little pairs like 2s to 7s, 2s to 8s, they're pretty easy to play because you just basically you flop. Oh, this is interesting. I'll tell you about this. You basically like play little pairs and try and hit 3 of a kind, and if you don't hit 3 of a kind, then you just fold. That's how they generally should be played. So in this situation, I actually turned a straight draw because I have 6, 7, 8, 9. So I considered for like half a second, should I just bet the turn very small? The reason that this is a terrible straight draw, even though it's technically an open-ended straight draw, is I don't have any diamonds. So the 6 of diamonds, the 6 of diamonds comes on the, or sorry, the 5 of diamonds comes on the river, then it puts 3 diamonds on the board. So that's problem number 1. So some of our outs to make our straight are dirty, meaning they won't necessarily make us the best hand. And then even if I hit the straight on the other side, if a 10 comes out, I would have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But now anyone with a jack would have a better straight than me. So it's weak in multiple ways. Like the only card I would really like to see on the river would be like a 5 that wasn't a diamond, like a 5 of hearts. Then I would feel like I have a good hand. But there's only 3 of those cards, the 5 of hearts, 5 of spades, the 5 of clubs, that would make me feel good. So 3 cards out of all the cards left is a pretty terrible situation. And it's unlikely I have the best hand now. So even though I have straight draw, I decided, and correctly so, just to check. And also, even if we were to hit 3 of a kind on the river, now our 3 of a kind would make 4 to a straight on the board. So that wouldn't even make us feel good. So we'll just fold our 2 6s there. Table 1, there's been a raise, so we're going to fold our 5-3 offsuit. Table 2, top right, holding our Jack 2 offsuit. Table 4, we're going to check if we can, because we're in the big blind, and if anyone raises, we're going to fold. Table 1, we're folding. Table 3, we're folding King 8 offsuit. Table 1, we're folding 3-5 offsuit. Table 2, we're folding 6-9 suited. Table 4, we're looking. We have bad position because we're in the small blind. And we have an okay hand. We just checked, and the player that raised is fairly tight. So the player that raised was fairly tight, and then the next player 3-bet. So now our King Jack becomes an unplayable hand, even though it's a maybe a C tier hand, because there's been a raise and a 3-bet. Then 2 players are showing a lot of strength. So your good hand becomes a weak hand. Table 1, folding 10-3. Table 4 will be folding 10-7. Table 2 folding 7 deuce. We're just going to wrap up this session now. Just playing my last few hands. I mean, when it comes to the action at the table, there wasn't a whole lot of action. It was a mix between, not terrible players and some pretty bad players, but it was in the day, and usually the games are better at nighttime than in the middle of the afternoon. Table 1 folding the Jack 3 offsuit. And you see table 1, sorry, it's table 1 I'm waiting because I want to see what happens before it gets to me. So if everyone folded, I would have raised that hand, but because a tight player before me raised, now I'm going to fold. So this is where adjusting, not just having this idea that I'm going to raise these hands or I'm going to play these hands and I'm going to fold these hands. You have to be able to adjust based on what happens at the table. I don't think there's any big hands that happen from this point on, so I'm going to stop the video here at 40 minutes. Let me know if you have any questions about sort of choosing your hands and stuff. It's sort of like it'll be an art. So it'll start difficult, like learning how to drive a car. You're thinking about everything all the time when you first start driving a car, and then eventually over time you start to get better and better at just doing things automatically. So it'll seem right now like every decision is like, oof, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, but eventually it'll get easier and easier. Anyway, take it easy.